Mauricio Meza, and I'm co-founder of Komodo OpenLab, and we make a product called Tecla. But I'll talk a bit more about the background and how it came to be. So I'm originally from Mexico, and actually the image you see there, it's just outside my city, and we have a volcano there that's active all the time. Actually, the view is pretty amazing, just to give you an idea. Then I studied biomedical engineering because I was really interested in bionics. The $3 Million Man was my favorite show when I was a kid. So that's why I went into biomedical engineering. I was actually thinking to into medicine too, but my dad's a doctor and said, no, don't do that. Do something else. So I did study biomedical engineering, and as part of my undergrad, I moved to Toronto for 6 months to work at Toronto Rehab. And what I work in, it was a roller system for wheelchair users to be able to exercise and being able to measure their progress. So they could be able to see if they were in a recent accident, how much better were they getting at powering their wheelchair by themselves. And then I stayed here in Toronto working as an assistive technology consultant. And if you've ever seen this movie, it's called The Bone Collector. And why I brought this in, it's a movie where Denzel Washington suffers an accident, and he's still a cop doing everything from bed. He has all the different gadgets to be able to use computers, use the phone, all from his bed. And the villain in this movie is the assistive technology consultant. So that's why I like this. So he's the guy that's knowing what's happening because he has access to the computer. So I was the computer guy for a lot of people, including Connie, that I worked when I was at Toronto Rehab. And then when I was working in Toronto Rehab helping people access technology, the iPhone came out. And it was a pretty big moment when people would come and talk to our department and say, I saw the iPhone, how can I access the iPhone? And at the time, it was like, no, look, it's not accessible. We even heard about a project in a hospital here in Toronto that they were going to develop a robotic arm that would move a pencil in order for someone to control an iPhone with a joystick. That seemed kind of an overkill, but they were thinking about it. And then I went back to school because I wanted to do something a bit different. So I went back to school to Ryerson University and did my master's in business. When I finished, I was unemployed and I was looking for the next thing. And I ran into this guy this is Jorge, who Puya mentioned before. We went to school together back in Mexico. We didn't like each other very much at the time. But I was unemployed, so I started talking to everyone I knew. And we just started chatting. And during my business degree, I started working on a business plan on how to develop an accessible smartphone. So I started doing research, how many users were there, how it could be done. And then when I talked to Jorge, I was telling him what I did, and he's like, oh, that's funny, because I have this thing that it's trying to make smartphones accessible. So he had a proof of concept of what now is called Tecla. I kind of have a business plan, so we started working together to see if we could do something with it. And when we were doing research, we found this guy online. His name is Christopher. He's in Australia. He's an amazing computer user. He has cerebral palsy and controls everything with one button with his head. And he posted this video that we loved it. It was, this is why I hate touchscreens. And it's a 2-minute video of him trying to use an iPad. And you just see how he's running frustrated at every second. So we saw this video and we contacted and we sent him one of our prototypes. A couple of weeks later, he posted another video. This is why I used to hate touchscreens. And then he posted a video where he started using his iPad and he was doing home control. So we were like thrilled to have found this guy. So this is what Christopher got. It was the Tecla Shield, the first version we had. It looks like a prototype, and it was, but people were starting to use. So we got about 400 users of this device. We learned a little bit more about the users, so we added a few new parts. So we thought it would be very easy to connect to the wheelchair. It's really expensive to do that, to connect to the battery of the wheelchair. So we incorporate the battery, we put a mount, and this is the second version. And then we started talking to people that we wanted to help us. So we actually talked to Google, who invited us to their developers conference in San Francisco, and they even gave us a booth so people could learn more about accessibility of mobile devices. So we were there, and we were around like Sony and all the different companies that were presenting the latest gadgets. So it was very cool to be there at the time. And then we went to this place. I don't know if everyone you know, but that's our whole address in Cupertino. It's one infinite loop. So we actually have made some contacts here in Canada with an organization called the C100, that is an organization of Canadians in Silicon Valley. And the president was touring the DMC, that was, it's our home now, that's where we work from. And she asked us, so how can I help you? And we said, well, if you can introduce us to Apple, that'd be great. It was just kind of a joke, and she's like, yeah, we can get you there. So a couple of weeks later, we went and we showed to the people in accessibility what we were doing. And they were actually really impressed that we didn't actually kind of hacking the device, but not. So after we worked with a number of users of the previous device, we came up with the next version. That's what you are seeing there. That's one of our users in Toronto. Her name is Caroline. So that's now a more finished product. It's everything we learned from users. We incorporated. It's a built-in battery. It works with Android devices. It works with Apple devices. And actually, we have a couple of users here. If you want to learn more how it works, you can ask Terrence. You can ask Neil back in the back. There in the back. So they're actually using the device. So that's actually makes us really happy that we can actually enable users to take advantage of the latest technologies. So that's another view of the device. So this is how it works. So it's an interface that sits in between the users and their assistive devices and the mobile phone. So you can use it with your driving controls if your wheelchair has an output port, or you can use it with a variety of different switches that could be very simple buttons, but for some users it could be something more sophisticated, like a switch that you can blink to activate or that you can blow to activate. These are a couple of our users. So, for example, I really like the story of Todd. So he suffered a spinal cord injury when he was really young, but now he runs his entire software business from his phone. For him, having access to his iPhone is as important as being able to move around in his wheelchair. So it's pretty significant, the change since he has the device in his life. And this is another of our users. His name is Owen. He's actually a software developer. But what I love about his story is he broke his unit and he got back to us and said, you understand how important this is to me. I wouldn't have a girlfriend if it wasn't for this device. And the reason why is because then he started accessing social media. And the girl that you see there is his girlfriend that he kind of charmed through Facebook. So that's a pretty cool story. Now we're developing a new version of the Tecla Shield, and our goal is to make it the one device that connects you to everything. Your home, the cloud, your mobile devices, your computer, everything that we have. Thanks.